Let me start by saying the unbearable suffering in Gaza is a scar on our collective conscience. It's completely unacceptable that innocent Palestinians, including children, continue to be killed.
It's been an interesting few days, mostly watching Andy Burnham roll out an apology so polished it squeaks. Andy Burnham is a career politician who spends decades perfecting the art of sounding sincere while saying absolutely nothing. Born in the 1970s, he climbed the Labour ladder with a smile, a slogan, and a habit of rewriting his own record when the public mood shifts. From Westminster to Manchester, Burnham has built a reputation as the man who can take any issue, any crisis, any tragedy, and somehow make it about his leadership journey. Now, critics say he flip-flops a lot, backtracks, contradicts himself, so often that keeping up requires a spreadsheet. His supporters call him passionate. Others call him a man who simply cannot stop bending the truth to fit the moment. There's been numerous examples of this over the years, but let's explore some of them as we go along. Anyway, hello and welcome. I'm Mohammed Aslam, and welcome to the Daily Eye Roll. This is the podcast where I show up, talk nonsense, and somehow you still listen. Today, apparently, my new job is to investigate how strawberries, yep, that's right, the fruit, have somehow managed to influence the political chaos in this country. Because at this point, I trust strawberry more than I trust Andy Burnham's latest apology tour. Honestly, I wouldn't trust that man to apologise for a late bus, let alone anything that actually matters. To critics, it feels like Burnham's attempting to win back the thousands of lost voters that Keir Starmer was responsible for over the Gaza issue. In a recent opinion poll, Andy Burnham, as the PM, in waiting, is trailing at -8 points. So despite calls from dozens of human rights organisations and lawmakers for him to use the term genocide, Burnham continues to deny that such horrible acts of violence constitutes a genocide. In fact, he said only a few days ago, one of his first acts as a PM, he will visit Israel, for God's sake, the place where government-sanctioned genocidal killers gather, and he wants to go and visit it. These comments by Burnham say more about his loyalty to Israel than any apology to Labour's voters, or Labour's lost voters, should I say, and indeed to our country. Burnham should, in my view, be focusing on Britain. That place he actually is responsible for, and maybe start repairing the damage that Keir Starmer left behind. Just a wild idea. Help people in your own country before auditioning for an international hero status. Maybe even improve his own popularity ratings while he's at it. But who knows Burnham? He's a man of his own standing, doesn't listen. Not sure if he actually hears anybody. But I suppose when you are a crowned king without the need of an election, popularity ratings don't really matter that much. Burnham has actively declined the label Israel's slaughter of innocent civilians in Gaza as a genocide. He doesn't recognise it as such. He stated that determining war crimes is the job of the international courts, not politicians. Wow, now I'm beginning to understand why he lost his bid to be the leader of the Labour Party, not once, but twice. Anyway, back to the serious point. When the international courts attempted to stop mass genocidal slaughter of babies, doctors, women, and many thousands of others by Israel, the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Karim Khan, KC, was threatened, allegedly, by Lord David Cameron, the former Prime Minister of Britain, and other senior American politicians. Karim Khan refused to bow to their pressure. and now, like clockwork, he's suddenly suspended from his job over a conveniently timed internal misconduct investigation. Critics say it looks less like justice and more like a stitch-up, together with a storyline to punish him for not playing ball. Andy Burnham says in his remarks that he accepts that Labour's response was poor, slow, weak and morally tone deaf, especially Keir Starmer's infamous 2023 LBC comment saying Israel had the right to cut off water and electricity to Gaza. But at the same time, Burnham declines to describe the mass ethnic slaughter of tens of thousands of innocent people, again, as a genocide. Burnham is an emotionally insincere and politically insane statesman. He apologises with one hand and continues like a coward to sit on the fence. First of all, he's an apology minimalist, gives you just enough regret to look reflective, but never enough to change anything. Burnham is a compassionate pretender, where he performs like a theatre production. Thirdly, he frequently refers to as the principal tourist, briefly visits moral clarity, takes a photograph, and then he leaves immediately. And finally, a ceasefire contortionist bends himself into shapes to avoid saying the one word that would cost him which would cost him politically, genocide. And so, before we close this episode, let me spell it out. Don't trust Andy Burnham as your next Prime Minister. Critics say you may live to regret it. If this is the level of leadership on display, imagine the sequel. Call for a general election. Let the people decide, not the party machines, not the PR teams, and definitely not another apology tour. It's good talking to you. I hope we'll talk again, and please do log in